Hello YouTube land and welcome to Force In Unison Live! Today we're gonna talk about Kingdom Hearts. Today we're gonna talk about the rumors of Spyro Remaster. But the best part is that we're gonna have fun tonight. And of course, joining me and taking it away with the band, Caliones! How you doing, Caliones, in this
Hey, how you doing, Dantes?
crazy night?
How you doing, everybody? And well, I guess like he said, he already pretty much addressed what we're going to be talking about today. So pretty interesting news, especially the very last piece of news that I really want to get to that one. So Dantes, just go ahead and get started because I want to get to the last piece of news. It has to do with some space movie.
Yeah, I put it in there because I wanted to have a quick discussion. Do you care? Do you still care? But we'll get to that. Let's quickly start with that sweet rigmarole. I want to welcome everybody to Force In Unison Live, episode 22, every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember, we do have a Nintendo podcast called the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast every Saturday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can get that podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. Also, we do have a Facebook page, right, Caliones? And it's called Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and switchcard.net and give some clicks and love to my boy Caliones. With all that said, are you guys ready? I said, are you guys ready? Because we start the news. And there's no fancy intro like I do in the Get In and Get Out, so I had to stop there. I got into the groove there, but nope, let's stop. Caliones, what is the first piece of news? And it's going to be an interesting one, so take it away.
Okay, so one, I guess it is a combination of different news, but it basically does have to do with Kingdom Hearts 3. So finally, we saw more footage of the game. The game does have improvement graphic-wise, especially from the first one from the other one that we saw in 2015 compared to this one. So that's good to know that the game has been developing, it has been getting better, and graphic-wise, it looks really nice. They showed the footage during the D23 Expo, and even though the trailer that they showed shows the game will be released in 2018, and there were rumors that the release date for the game was going to be revealed at this year's E3, but there's actually, they did confirm that the release date won't be mentioned at E3, so we don't know if they're going to talk about it before, after, if the game is still going to be coming out in 2018, which it should, because they showed that on the trailer. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what do you think about it, Dantes? Do you think the game finally will be making its 2018 release?
So there's a part of me that's like, nah. It's not coming out this year. But I have to say, admittedly, the last trailer seemed really advanced. Now, it could be one of those Square Enix tricks that they show a trailer and it looks so advanced that you're like, the game is going to be out in a year. And then it can be like Final Fantasy VII, where it's just, remake hell right now. And we don't know anything about that game. And if that game comes out in 2020, you guys are dreaming, honestly. But the problem is, and this is where I'm at with Square Enix, right? The problem is I have lost completely faith with them. It seems like ever since the PlayStation 4 era, or the PlayStation 3 half through the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 era, Square has not found their footing. Their development time seems to take too long. Game seems to be too expensive. And if it wasn't for their Western studios, Square would be in deep problem, in my opinion. And you can see with the track record. Like, Final Fantasy XIV started awful. It was a mess. Now they came back and fixed, and now they're making money, so which is good. But again, it took the game longer to get what it needed to be, right, Caliones? So in theory, you had like a 6 to 7 year development cycle. I'm exaggerating, but then you have Final Fantasy 15, which was development hell. at its finest, and it's lasted so long to get to where it is. And then it was an incomplete game where they're still making updates, Caliones, to make the story good, I guess, if you can put it that way. And then you feel sad because then you play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And again, I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but the game is awesome. But a developer took 2.5 years to make a complete game, Caliones, with a great story, and you beat it. Now you understand why I'm such a big fan of Xenoblade Chronicles. 2.5 years, you can make a good story. You don't need to have high-end graphics, ultra-powerful graphics. I don't understand why Final Fantasy 15 is where it is or where it was. When I beat the game, it was okay, but they're kind of like filling all the plot holes. And then now Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was announced, when was it, Caliones? 2013, 2012, something like that?
I think it's around 2012.
Yeah. Anyway, and it's what, 2018 now? And we're still not, it hasn't released yet? So it takes you 6 years to make a Kingdom Hearts game? Really? It's not like it's a whole huge open world, right? Now, though, I have to admit, I am a fan of Kingdom Hearts. I am excited to play the game. I want it to be good. I want Nomura to redeem himself after the fiasco that was Final Fantasy 15. And if there's one franchise that he can redeem himself, is Kingdom Hearts, because he knows Kingdom Hearts back and forth. He's been instrumental in the full story of this franchise. And even though it can be convoluted, where you have so many games in different areas, like, you know, you got some games like the 3DS version, Dreamed Up Distance, and then you have the PSP version, and then you have the DS version, and then there's so many games that you have to pick up and follow to really understand the full story, which is hard to call it Kingdom Hearts 3 when you have so many side stories in between. So it can be a convoluted mess. But as a person who has played a lot of Kingdom Hearts and most of the games, I didn't play 353 days, whatever it's called, on the DS, but I did play Birth by Sleep. I did play Dream Up Distance on the 3DS. I played Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and so I am kind of versed enough to understand the story where it's heading. So I am excited. I am hopeful that it releases in 2018. But to end my rant, I believe that I think it can still slip, because even Final Fantasy 15, when they announced the date, when they made a big deal about announcing the date, right, Caliones? The game still slipped. that was a little bit embarrassing, in my opinion. But anyway, Caliones, your thoughts about the game coming out this year and your history with the franchise, and are you excited to play this game?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm excited, to play the game. It's, I mean, I love the game back in, the PS2 era. I didn't really play the other installments after 1 and 2, but, I mean, I don't know how many times I've played the first one. I absolutely love that game. Love the combination of Disney and Square Soft at the time. But it's, I don't know, like, I'm feeling more confident that the game will be coming out this year, just because you can see the actual improvement from the first reveal to how it was shown again in 2015 to how it is now. And I did check. The game was first revealed at E3 in 2013, so almost 5 years ago. That's when it was finally revealed. But yeah, I mean, I think I see enough improvement on it to think that it's on the way, that it's close to being done, and that it has a pretty good chance of making it out this year. So I don't know. It's maybe me just I'm absolutely ready to play it already. So that's too many readies for it. But yeah, it's I think it will make it out.
We shall see, Caliones. We shall see, and hopefully it'll be good. I want Nomura to redeem himself, because he's also the director of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I'm like, dude, you're chewing too much right now. Let me put it that way. But anyway, we both agree. We're excited. Hopefully it will come out in 2018. And hopefully what matters, Caliones, right, is it a good game? Because Square Enix right now, I don't have much confidence in them, in their internal development team, honestly. But to their credit, Octopath Traveler looks pretty sweet. So we'll see how that game pans out too, right? So anyway, Caliones, let's move to the next piece of news.
Okay, and the other one is, going back to one of our dear games from the PS1 era. It's the 20th anniversary of Xenogears, and their artists, the original artists of the game, they have been celebrating the 20th anniversary by releasing figures and artwork based on the game. So I mean, it's they've been doing like 3D figures based on it. They're doing sketches, paintings, and I mean just overall paying tribute to the characters and the game itself. So how do you feel about going through that? I mean, seeing all those characters again, all those people, and feeling the game once again.
So I'm right now smelling the little booklet. Smells good, Caliones. It still smells good. No, I'm joking. I love this game. I'm showing it right now. It is on PS3, guys. So if you have a PlayStation 3, you can download it. So you can find it. It's not like it's hard to find. You can still play it in today's console. So if you have a PlayStation 3, I would highly recommend it to play it. Xenogears, one of the best RPGs of all time. When I did my old top 10 RPG list of all times, Caliones, I put it number 1, right? And I have played Chrono Trigger, I have played Final Fantasy VII, and I have played Breath of Fire, Lunar, Silver Star Story, another awesome RPG. So I love RPG. PlayStation era was the best time for RPGs, Caliones. It was so beautiful. So many awesome RPGs during that generation. But admittedly, it was a flaw game. This number 2 was missing content. They had to cut it out because of budget constraints, which sucks. I wish Square would have more faith in the game. A lot of people don't know this, but this game was originally pitched as Final Fantasy VII, so this could have been Final Fantasy VII, which still we ended up getting a really good Final Fantasy game. I don't know how it would have turned out with Xenogears, because again, it was a darker story, which why Square decided not to use it as a Final Fantasy VII game. But Takahashi, this is where it all started. This is the Xenogears, Xenosaga 1, 2, 3, and of course now Xenoblade. You have to give the guy credit. He knows how to build complicated stories that engages you as a player. It can be a little bit anime, so if you're not into JRPGs, this is not the series for you. I'm telling you right now, stick with Witcher in that case. But 20 years watching all those characters like Faye, Ellie, Saitan. I love Saitan. Saitan was one of my favorite characters. I tend to gravitate to the father figure of the characters. Like Saitan, Dunban, Morak, all of them were kind of like the father figure of the group, kind of like the most person who had the most wisdom and helped train the others, right? So it just shows you that maybe, I don't know, that's the type of characters that I like. But it was great seeing those pictures, Caliones. It was great seeing those sculptures. And it just made me wish that we could get a proper remake with the full story developed by Takahashi, where he can properly finish this game without the constraints of a budget. Maybe Nintendo can make it happen. Maybe Nintendo has a good relationship with Square Enix, can make borrow Monolith Soft, to then Takahashi could come back. And I know he would probably want to come back and finish this game and make the masterpiece that he foresaw when he did it on the PlayStation 1. So Square Enix, make it happen. Make it happen. Anything you want to share about Xenogears? I know you played it too during the PS1 era.
Well, I don't know why you didn't mention Billy on that one.
Oh, Billy. Billy. Yeah, Billy was the gunslinger. Really cool character. He was really into his religion, and then he can start seeing some crap that was going behind the scenes. So it's a really deep, well-developed character too. Billy was a well-developed character. So again, the pirate guy, I forgot the pirate's name. Bart. Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember. But every character in this game was really well developed. Even Rico, which he was the worst developed of them all, but still Rico had a good story of being trapped in an arena game. And then, he would help the characters escape from the prison. So again, every character in Xenogears had a great story. But anything to add to your experience with Xenogears, Caliones?
Bartholomew is the one that you're talking about. But I mean, I guess the game. They said that it was too dark for it to be a Final Fantasy game, and that's one of the reasons why they decided not to make it a Final Fantasy. The storyline, it was I guess very religious.
A little bit, yeah.
and it was pretty dark as well. And also, for me, it's a lot more complicated than the story of Final Fantasy VII as well. So That's one of the other reasons why. And you made reference to it, especially on the review that we did for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that the game was not finished. So, or the budget ran out on the game, so that's why they didn't really finish it, especially on the second disc. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's one of the greatest RPGs of all time. So I mean, I'm just glad that we got to have Xenogears and Final Fantasy VII as well. So that it was not just a single game, that it was two different ones. But
Quick
as
to
far as
intervene, Normor L was asking if everybody knows news from Final Fantasy 15 for the Switch. It's still, we haven't heard anything. We're still waiting for those news. But if you're gonna get Final Fantasy 15, it's gonna be probably the Pocket Edition, I believe. But you may get surprised. Square may pull a magic trick and be able to put Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch. So I'm hopeful for you. I don't know if you haven't had a chance to play it. I think it's still an okay game. And hopefully by the time it comes with the Switch, it's the full story. So you don't have to suffer like I did with all those plot holes. So anyway, hopefully you'll get there, my friend. So we'll see. Anyway, continue, Calion. Sorry about that.
well, I mean, the other thing about it is because you were saying about us possibly seeing either like a remake or something of Xenogears. I think we probably will, especially because we're seeing Octopath Traveler. We're seeing that engine. It doesn't mean that we're gonna see a remake go from Final Fantasy VII graphics on the PS1
You don't need
to
No.
to like those right now. We're probably gonna see some stay around the same art style.
Yep.
And that's one of those art style that if they give it the Project Octopath Traveler treatment, it would look absolutely gorgeous. So that's what Square Enix needs to do. They keep that's the real engine for the one that they're using for Octopath. So do it for Octopath, then do it for Xenogears, do it for Final Fantasy VI, do it for Chrono Trigger, do it for do it for those games. So you don't have to have like a AAA budget just to develop it again or do a remake or remaster or something. Just do change the code of paint under a new engine and keep it the same way. And a lot of people like myself, if they make it available, will definitely get it.
Yep. Agreed. Hopefully you'll get there. Maybe make more anime cutscenes because that game had anime cutscenes, and then of course fill up the story with the parts that were cut off that they had to tell through basically Face just sitting down in a chair explaining what happened instead of you playing what happened, which kind of like it hurt the pacing of the game. The game had really good pacing until that point. I wish it had the budget to finish it. I think we would be talking on Xenogears right now if that game would have been finished, I think, in the same vein as Xenoblade Chronicles in my eyes, which I believe was Takahashi's best work because it was a complete game. It was one of the few games that has less flaws, the best polished Xenoblade game or Xeno game of all of them. So I believe that they were close. It's just they ran out of money, I guess, or not money, but Square cut the budget because they had to put it on Final Fantasy. I guess that is the cash cow. You have to put it on the cash cow for sure. Anyway, Caliones, let's go to the next piece of news.
Well, and the next piece of news is, I mean, something that we like to hear, but at the same time, it's not really that surprising. So we're getting Spyro the Dragon for the PS4 remaster, or their reports are that we're getting the game. So it's not. I mean, it hasn't been officially announced, but
I'll bet you it's an E3 release or something to surprise people. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So they're saying that the early games in the Spyro the Dragon series are in line for a remaster, and when we talk about a remaster, think of it as along the same lines as the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So it's going to receive the same treatment like those. But another reason why it doesn't really surprise me is because as far as the Activision goes, they don't have the Skylanders series anymore. So they're not doing Skylanders. They haven't officially canceled it, but they said the series is going to go on hiatus. So they need something else. They released Crash Bandicoot. It was really successful. Only a $40 game, but it sold a lot. And so it made a lot of profit for the company. So of course they're gonna go back to Spyro, do that. Just do a remaster of that one, and just look to their PS1 library, see what other games they have, because it's the same thing as Nintendo takes advantage of, which is they take advantage of their Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, library. PlayStation, I mean, they're old enough that they can go back to the PS1. You still have the nostalgic factor when it comes to those games. So yeah, I mean, just go back, fix them up and re-release them again. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it does get officially announced.
Yep, I agree. It will. I believe it will. Activision owns this game too. So Activision saw money with Crash. They said like, damn, look at how much money we made with Crash. They just remake the game, but left basically the gameplay being the same. Basically a new code of painting, right? Caliones, basically that's it. But still looks great. Crash looks great. I'm hopeful to play it this year, unless I do that project that I told you about. But the thing is that Activision is probably making a deal with Sony right now. Hey, you help us pay for the Crash, and it was really successful. Both companies, I think, benefited immensely from the time exclusive, and make a lot of money between both of them. Sony's could be doing the same thing. Hey, let's do Spyro the Dragon. We'll help develop the game. It'll become exclusive for a year. So I expect Spyro to end up on the Switch at some point the following year. So again, Nintendo fans, you can, if you are willing to wait and you don't have a PlayStation, don't feel bad. I think the game will come to Switch and PC at some point. But these deals that Sony is making are being smart. They're smart, Caliones, right? The characters like Crash and Spyro are known to the PlayStation brand, the PlayStation fans. So they know, Activision knows that's where they're going to get the most sales. But at the same time, after the exclusivity ends, you can expand the fans by releasing on the Switch, releasing on PC, and then preparing them for a new game. So like now there's rumors right now that Crash is coming, and then maybe the new Crash game, it is not exclusive to Sony for a time period. It's going to be multi-platform out of the gate. Maybe they have the same deal with Sony. I don't know. Because again, developers, which is, we're going to talk about it on Camilla's tweet rant that he did. There's deals that are done in the back that helps pay for development costs. And then these developers use this to be able to get the game out, because if Sony wasn't putting the money, you probably would never seen the Crash remake. And the same with Bayonetta. If Nintendo wasn't putting the money for Bayonetta, you're probably not gonna see Bayonetta 2. That is pure and simple. If someone's not willing to pony out the money, these type of games are not Destiny. They're not Call of Duty. They're not this and this. Right? So developers or publishers try to reduce the loss that they feel they could get, because Activision's like, why in the hell we want to do Crash Bandicoot? And then Sony was like, no, wait. There's a lot of people that keep asking for Crash. I think there's something there. I'll help you out, bro. I help you out. Just give me 1 year exclusivity, and we truly believe that Crash is still remembered by the PlayStation fan. And boom, Caliones. Look at how those sales of Crash came out, right? Spyro could be happening the same thing. And of course, hopefully Bayonetta will get the same type of sales too when it comes to the Switch. So again, I think it's a good deal. I think it will happen, Caliones. And I'm excited for it. I like Spyro. I'm not saying that I was a huge fan. I prefer Crash on the PlayStation era. But I am willing to give it another shot with nice remake graphics in 4K or whatever they call it at this time to sell it. But it's good. It's good. Anything to add, Caliones?
No, I mean, it's what we just saw with Shadow of Colossus, and Shadow of Colossus is a PS2 game, so it's going from the PS2 to the PS4, and the improvements that they did on it, it makes it look like almost like a brand new game. So especially, I mean, and that is from the PS2. So if you go to the PS1 and you go from the PS1 to the PS4, you do a remaster of a game. It's been enough time that improvements on the graphics and on the control is gonna make it feel like a brand new game as well. So it just makes sense. It's easy for them to go back to Crash and do that. They saw that it was successful. It worked out. Now they're looking into the library and seeing, okay, so what other games can we do this for? So another one is, of course, Spyro. That's another one that they can take advantage of. Parappa the Rapper, they're already making another game in the series for that one. So they're going to go back to the library. They're going to see what they have, especially since they're not letting you play those games on the PS4. I guess the best way around it, if you don't get like PS Now or something like that, is to remake the games and resell them again. But either way,
that's different though, Cardenas. I'll defend Sony on that one a little bit. Yes, you cannot play them, but these games are totally different for a new generation that I think are worth redoing and reselling. And you can see the Shadows of the Colossus news that we're gonna talk about later. Shadow of the Colossus is basically a brand new game, right? And the reviews are saying so. So I'm with you. I understand what you're saying, that it sucks that Sony doesn't have backward compatibility. You know, I'm in favor for Sony finding the right solution for that. But even if they have backward compatibility, these games deserve to be remade and deserve to be for a new generation where you can update it enough where it feels like a brand new game. And Crash feels that way. Shadow of the Colossus feel that way. And then Spyro, I think we would feel that way. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's I mean that's more or less my point, is that because Sony hasn't released the game in the PS2, then release it on the PS3, then on the PS4, and have it available that way. So they haven't the game hasn't really been out there for the most part. A lot of those games, if you want to play them, you have to go get a PlayStation 1, so you can play it that way. So that's why like a lot of people or kids, teenagers, they haven't experienced any of those games yet. So by doing a remaster of the game and re-releasing it on the PS4, then it really feels like a brand new experience for them, because and even for people that already played it, because the time has been long, and those games haven't really aged that well. So they do need improvement on the graphics and controls, but what we're seeing from Crash Bandicoot and Insane Trilogy and Shadow of Colossus is that developers not only are remaking the game, but they're actually making them good, and they're getting great reviews as well. So I'm all for seeing more of those.
Yeah, we'll see what else Sony can pull out, but it seems that they're doing really well with these remakes and, well, not remakes, remakes from scratch, which is, I'm okay. I am tired of the HD ports. I am okay if you are building the game from ground up. You already have most of the gameplay done, so it's almost like building the game. And if you get a company like Blue Point to do the remake for you, okay, it's all good. You do all this, Sony. Do repeat it. What's next? What else we can ask for Sony on their library, right? Imagine God of War remake from the ground up to look like the new God of War game, right? I think that would be freaking awesome, right? So, well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's move on to the next piece of news.
Yeah, and you already alluded to this one, a little while ago. It was basically that Bayonetta essentially did the same thing, and on this one, Hideki Kamiya, he actually explains once again, because he already did so before, why Bayonetta 3 is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. So last night he did release a series of tweets. It was like 15 tweets in total, explaining everything from how Bayonetta 1 came to be. Basically, it was an Xbox 360 game. So it was supposed to be exclusive for the Xbox 360, mainly because they didn't really have experience working on games for multiple systems. So they had it ready for the 360. Then Sega got another company to do the port for the PS3, and that's why the port for the PS3 probably suffered, because it wasn't Hideki Kojima and his team working on it. It was a different team. Then they started developing of Bayonetta 2, but basically money ran out. Sega decided to cancel the game, but at least it seems like Sega was actually nice enough to let them go around and shop for possible either somebody to give them money and fund the project so they could finish it. So essentially, they went to a lot of companies, and Nintendo was pretty much the last one, and they said yes, and that's why Bayonetta 2 got made. Since Nintendo put the money, they wanted it on the Wii U. They went ahead and put it on the Wii U. And same thing with Bayonetta 3. Nintendo put the money for that, and they said that without Nintendo's money, they would not have made the game, and that's why Bayonetta 3 is on the Switch.
Yep. I don't know why this is a huge news. It's so obvious, Caliones. Look, I know time exclusives or shit like that suck. People want their games on their platform. But you have to understand, exclusives are needed, people, because that defines why you buy the console, right? Give you an example, Caliones. I love Nintendo. You know it. I love my Switch, right? But if Xenoblade Chronicles, if Zelda, if Mario, and it's not gonna happen. I'm just bringing an example. Were on PlayStation, why would I want to buy a Switch? I just buy the original system that I bought and just keep playing them on PlayStation, right? Why would I get pushed? Now, Nintendo has Mario, has Zelda, has Xenoblade, has Luigi's Mansion, has Pikmin. Me as a gamer, I like those IPs. I'm gonna buy the freaking Switch, right? It's just common sense, and that's where it hurts Xbox right now, in a sense, that they don't have that push to make you buy a system. I have a strong PC. Why would I buy an Xbox? Even though I bought one just for the 4K Blu-ray. That's a reason. But why do I buy an Xbox if I have a strong PC that I can play all those games in PC? There's no reason for them, right? And I know Microsoft's strategy is different. They don't care. They know. To me, Microsoft knows that they will never win a generation. They are not known like Nintendo and Sony. I think they know that. So they're saying, let's make as much money as we can, and maybe we can revolutionize gaming now with a streaming type of Netflix service. That's where Microsoft is headed. We know that. But what I'm saying is currently, with the current model, it hurts Microsoft not having those exclusives that make people buy. So people screaming for Bayonetta and say, well, but the first one came to every console. So the game was not gonna be made if it wasn't for Nintendo stepping in. Bayonetta 3 was not gonna be made if it wasn't for Nintendo stepping in. So why the crying? Stop port begging. If you're really that big of a fan of Bayonetta, then you should have bought the original one when it came out. So then Sega would have seen a lot of sales, and they would have said, we never want this game to be exclusive to anyone because we have a huge fan base that we want to feed into every system. Pure and simple. So if you were crying now, you should have bought the game when it came out years ago. And I tried to support it. The problem is because I was a PlayStation gamer, the PlayStation ports suck. And I didn't even get the plat. And that's one of the rare games that I did not get the plat all the way through, aside that the hack happened when I was playing Bayonetta, and that's why I stopped playing them. But still, it was a bad port quality. Oh, the loadings were awful, and every time I had to go to the store, oh, I dread it. I dreaded every time I had to do anything on that game because the loadings were just awful. But anyway, to my point is, blame yourself. Blame yourself why Bayonetta is not multi-platform. You should have bought it when it came out originally. And then the second piece is, we have it now. You really are a big fan of Bayonetta? Buy the fucking Switch. Sorry, I forgot. This is a kids program now. Buy the freaking Switch. Buy it, guys. Buy the Switch. It won't kill you. If you're a gamer and you feel strongly that you want to play Bayonetta, buy the Switch and play Bayonetta. Like I'm going to do. I'm going to buy Bayonetta 3 when it comes out and support the game. Because Platinum Games and Camilla, if a lot of people don't know, he's the one of the creators of Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, so makes great action games. So I believe that Bayonetta 3 is going to be another stellar high 90s or up in the 90s Metacritic score. Anyway, sorry about the long run, Caliones. Go.
Yeah, I guess Joshi Gaming on the chat, probably caught on to it. But yeah, I mean, like it's like this is it. The simplest way to put it is, would you rather have Bayonetta 2 on Wii U, or for it to not exist at all? Because those are the only two options. There's no other options. There's no PS4 option. There's no Xbox One option. It's either do you want it to exist or not exist at all. And it seems like a lot of people are complaining about it. Yes, you do the port begging, and Nintendo fans do the port begging as well. I haven't begged, but I would like a lot of games not available on Switch to be available in it. But it's that's the simplest way to say it is the game would not exist without Nintendo putting the money into it. And same thing with Part 3, the game would not exist without Nintendo putting the money. But at the same time, okay, so you have Nintendo trying to secure exclusives this way, but then you criticize Microsoft for not having enough exclusives. So I mean, it's either one thing or the other. You can't really complain about those things. So yes, we have the console warriors. We have the other ones that fight and bleed for whichever console of their choice, and they would like to have every single game in their system. But this is a business. Yes, it is video games, it is fun and games, but it is also a business, and companies are trying to secure exclusives that are going to entice people to buy that system. And that's why Nintendo doesn't have Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, or anything else on any other system. Same thing for Sony. They don't have God of War. They don't have. I mean, like right now, Shadow of Colossus that came out. They don't have those games on other consoles. So that's why, because you want to secure those games so people are going to buy your system. But either way, Hideki Kamiya, if you go to his Twitter, read his rules on what comments he wants to see. That way, you're not going to get banned because I mean he's trigger happy when it comes to blocking people. So just read his rules
He is.
because
I have followed Camilla for years now, and I have never commented to him. The only reason I follow him just to laugh at the Twitter wars that he sometimes puts up with people. So I recommend just follow him just for the fun. But admittedly, I never even comment to anybody. If I follow people, it's because either you're funny or you do stupid crazy shit like Camilla. And I think Camilla sometimes overreacts to defend some of the people. Sometimes some people ignorantly ask a question, they didn't know the rules the first time they follow him, and he quickly blocks them. Camilla should be also a little bit more, I think he could control his temper a little bit better, in my opinion. But still, follow him. It's a fun read when shit hits the fan on Twitter. And I think he did this rant just because he gets tired of people port begging for Bayonetta. Again, if you want Bayonetta, if you hated the Wii U and you love Bayonetta but hated the Wii U, and trust me, I think half of the world hated the Wii U. But if you hated the Wii U, they're gonna re-release Bayonetta 2 on the Switch. Get a Switch. The Switch is awesome. Get it and get it over with. If you're such a big fan of Bayonetta, who cares? Like you said, Sony's not gonna put God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Shadows of the Colossus on a Nintendo console or an Xbox console because they want to sell PlayStation. So come on, guys, just stop poor begging. If you really feel so strongly about Bayonetta, just buy the damn Switch. I'm done. Go ahead, Calion.
yeah, it was just funny because last night I follow somebody, his name is D BY2K. He's an ex gaffer. He's on Reset Era as well. But he did a quick post saying, "Oh, like something about like Hideki Kamiya is about to go all out right now." And I'm pretty sure because he saw the first tweet and it said 1 out of 15.
Yep.
So as soon as he mentioned it, I quickly went to the Twitter and I just kept refreshing just so we see it popping up, and it is a good read. So for you guys, if you haven't read it, go over to his Twitter. Go to last night's Twitter rant, and he goes from 1 to 15, especially basically explaining the entire history of Bayonetta and how the first one, second one, and third one came to be, and why they are on those consoles specifically. So it is, like you said, it is fun to read. So just follow him. Just be careful because I'm afraid to. Yeah, either retweet or something.
Don't talk to him. Just enjoy the ride. Don't talk to the guy. Anyway, Caliones, let's move to the next piece of news.
Okay, so going over with the next one, and this is Ubisoft. They're talking about loot boxes, and they're saying that players need to feel that they are really free not to buy. So yes, I mean it is 2018. We're still talking about loot boxes. Hawaii, they seem to have something in place.
So Hawaii, you're my hero, Hawaii.
They can ban people under 21 years old from buying a game with loot boxes. So you gotta be 21 and above because they are basically calling that gambling. So we'll see how that pans out if it starts spreading around the other states as well and the rest of the world. I just what I want to see is I want retailers to do the same backlash to games with loot boxes as they're doing for Microsoft, having their games on the Game Pass. I mean, are retailers going to do that? Are they going to start pulling games out if they have loot boxes included? If they officially call them gambling, will they be doing something like that? I know that at the end of the day, if we want companies to change that, then we need to kind of do the same thing what we did with Battlefront 2, where everybody complained. They did change them momentarily, even though they're going to put it back again. But they need to hear the players, and they need to talk with their money. And I guess it kind of backfired a little with Battlefront 2 because they removed it because people were complaining and they did not buy the game because of those things, but now they're going to put it back again because not enough people bought the game, and they want to try to get additional profit out of it. So
They got the
it's
money
just
they need. It still sold
it's
8 million. Come on.
yeah, it's
It's
a vicious
stupid. It's
circle.
stupid.
So
It's stupid. It's EA is stupid. Ubisoft is stupid. Uh, so I was gonna say this. Like Ubisoft is saying, oh, we want to make feel that the player feels it's an option, that it's not forced. That's the right way to do loot boxes. Here's the problem. You are gonna make the gameplay, even though it may not feel that you're forced to do it, even though the player still feels it's an option, you're still gonna make it a little bit grindier. A little bit, you have to grind a little bit more, Caliones. And then you're gonna tell yourself, do I really want to do another 10 hours of grinding, like Shadow of War? Or let me put $20 here and get it out of the way, and boom, I'm done with the game, and then I can move along. That's my problem. Ubisoft can say all they want. We need to make it feel that it's not forced, that it's an option. That's the right way to do it. No. What they're doing, they're still going to make it gameplay-wise, Callions. I'm telling you, they're still going to make it because they're a-holes, and they just want money, and they're still going to make it in a way that you have to buy that loot box, to at least force some people to buy the loot box. So, I don't agree. Whatever, Ubisoft, you can sell your corporate message all you want. But to me, I know what you guys are doing. And Activision with the whole setting players in a way so good players fight bad players, and then you can see their items, so then you can maybe get them in loot boxes. Just companies are just in this whole shitstorm now. They want to force you to buy loot boxes. So that's why I'm happy. I'm happy with my AA games. Hey, you don't want to call Mario a AAA game? I'm happy with Mario being a AA game. Xenoblade, I'm happy. Hey, Xenoblade has a system that I hate, which is the gacha system, the RNG on it. But at least it's not paid, Caliones. At least you can just get the cores in the game and try to get the blades that way, right? And that game was perfectly to have some microtransactions. That game was perfect to have loot boxes in a way that people would have paid a lot of money. Based on the video that I put on how to get rare blades, there's 33,000 people who probably would have paid money just to get the blades and not do the gacha system in the game. So that game, Nintendo would have made a lot of money. So I'm hoping Nintendo still hold on. And to his credit, Sony too. Shadow of the Colossus, God of War, all these games that are coming for Sony. Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn could easily have loot boxes, Caliones, because you do a lot of loot in that game and you have to build parts and create weapons. Perfect for that. Do not have it. I don't know how much Sony will hold on. I don't know how much Nintendo will hold on. But it's going to be interesting in the coming years if Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, and Activision keep bringing the shit to the gamer. How much Sony and Nintendo are going to be like, well, we're missing out on a lot of money right now. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that it shouldn't be part of this. I mean, if you want to, then I mean, just go ahead and make games and create an arcade in Las Vegas. Just go to one of those places, do an arcade over there. In the same way that you put money into the machines, then you put money into the arcade and have people gamble that way. Just don't keep it away from our home consoles or like the systems that are owned by adults, but at the same time by kids. So it shouldn't be, should not be in them. But moving along over to the next one, and we have a limited edition God of War loot crate announced.
Loot box. Physical loot box. I'm good with this. Keep going.
Okay.
Hey, so if you're going to do it physical. Don't do it electronically.
Well, I mean, it's just keep it away from the game.
Yeah, keep it away from the game.
But you can probably pretty much say the same thing about the collector's edition that you have behind you. You pay more for it, but you get additional things as well. At least it's things that you can take with you and not something that's going to disappear inside the game. And trust me, I know all about that, especially because of Inkling G and her fascination with Roblox and Robux and spending money on it. So yes, I know, I'm well aware of it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to have officially licensed apparel, accessories, replicas, and more. So it's going to be coming from the loot crates. I know that for certain games, you like to get those things. So are you going to be getting it for God of War?
Nope. So after the the Final Fantasy. I don't know if you want to call it debacle, but I bought
Oh,
that huge.
and before you continue, you have a comment. They're asking you if is your PS3 still on live support,
Yeah,
Dantes?
I just wrote back. No, it's good. My original PS3, I fixed it. It worked for a while. Then it died officially, and then I bought another fat PS3, and that one's still kicking. And the reason I want the fat PS3 is because that's the last one console who you could have backward compatibility, and you could play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 games. So I even
Yeah.
went to eBay or
So it was
Amazon.
the 20 gigs and the 80 gig versions, right?
Yeah, the 60. I bought the 60 gig
So
again.
the 60
60 gig. Yeah, I did change the hard drive, so it has more. But yeah, the 60 gig version. But yeah, I still bought it. I think it's the best PlayStation 3, even though it looks fat and ugly. It is still the best PlayStation because you play every PlayStation game you want, and that's my backward compatibility. And then I have PlayStation 4, and then basically I have all the PlayStations just thanks to the PlayStation 3. So I'm always careful with that PlayStation. And the reason my original fat PS3, it lasted for 6 to 7 years, but I did a bad job taking care of itself. So when it got the yellow ring or dead, I opened it, and the dust inside the machine was awful. So that's the reason. So you want to guys maintain it. You have to try to get that dust out as much as you can. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. No, I'm not doing it. If you see my Final Fantasy 15, after that I say I'm not gonna buy any more crazy editions. I'm just gonna buy the plain old God of War. I have to be like, and I'm a huge fan of God of War, and don't get me wrong, but I have to be like a immense fan to now get the collector's edition, and that's why the Xenoblade edition, I bought it after the Final Fantasy Collector's Edition because it's Xenoblade, and I want to support that game up the wazoo as much as I can. I want Nintendo to keep pumping those Xenoblade games. But yeah, I'm not planning to buy it. But this is interesting. This is a new concept, a loot box for a special edition. You don't know what you're gonna get, but you know, hey, it could be fun. Some people like loot boxes. They like the whole get monthly gear that you don't know what you're gonna get, and in physical it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't mind it. I prefer, so if Sony, if you're doing it that way, I prefer you doing it that way than buy. And Sony's been hitting out of the park with all the side projects now because the Nike shoes or the PlayStation shoes, whatever they were called, they sold out, and they're like selling like freaking $700 on eBay, Caliones, for freaking PlayStation shoes right now. So hey, Sony, you do you. If PlayStation,
but that's not just PlayStation shoes. It's basically any Nike shoes. Like for some reason, once Nike's released, they sell out. Then people do crazy things to try to get them. So it's always the vicious cycle when it comes to those shoes.
Anyway, but the PlayStation shoes are selling great, and then Sony, if PlayStation is the only thing that's making you a lot of money, just make an apparel. Just make like a new clothing line, your PlayStation or whatever you want to do. PlayStation underwear. I'll buy a PlayStation underwear where I have the symbol right there. You know where. Anyway, Caliones.
Well, I'll say this before we move on to the next one, and I'll make a promise to Inkling G. I'm not gonna buy her the PlayStation shoes, but for the next school year, I'll be getting her the Nintendo Vans. So I'll get her a couple of pairs of those.
I remember Vans. I was a huge Nike guy, and then once I started wearing Vans, I'm like, I'm not wearing Nike again. They're so freaking comfortable. But anyway, yeah, you remember in high school, in middle school, right? Where everybody had to have the hot shoes, Caliones, right? I had the Michael Jordans, everybody, the Penny Hardaway, the Shaqs. Well, you had the Shaq expensive version, and you have the Shaq Kmart version, but you had to have the Shaqs.
I also remember in high school that my parents were probably the ones that made, or close to the ones that made the most money out of all of my friends, but they still got me shoes at Walmart. So
smart parents. The only thing I'm gonna say. Anyway, Caliones, go ahead with the next piece of news.
Okay, and the next one is that we're still getting, great news about Monster Hunter World. Yes, Nintendo fans and Microsoft, the game didn't fail, so Capcom is rejoicing on the sales, and they announced that it has passed now 6 million units worldwide shipped. This is both digital and physical. And why you asked about digital, because you do have the download cards for the game, and they sell those cards. So they ship those. The game has been a great story. It's still doing great when it comes to the Metacritic score. But sales wise, It's doing fantastic for the franchise, but it shouldn't really be surprising because this is what happens when you release a mainline Monster Hunter game instead of those remixes. And you know Capcom is the master of remixes when it comes to their games. So we've had how many, like 30 different Street Fighter games, and we're only on number 5. So yeah, that's we see it time and time again. But with Capcom and Monster Hunter World, hopefully this will lead to them finally releasing Double Cross for the Switch in the West, and what I hope will be a yearly cycle of 1 year Monster Hunter World 2 for the PS4 and Xbox One. The next year, Monster Hunter, the next installment for the Switch, be it like either stories or something, something along those lines. So I'm pretty sure they could have two teams with the way these games sell and have two mainline games in between the different consoles. So we'll see what they do, but either way, great news when it comes to the sales.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, in this case, if they're already saying ship 6 million, at least Caliones, they have to have sold like 5, right? That is the truth, because they announced they ship 5, and now they're announcing they ship 6. That means that they had enough demand for it to grow. They had to ship more, which is great. And you got for Capcom, I think this is the biggest hit of all time. That is, and here's what I'm gonna say: Monster Hunter, to me, was always a niche game. Caliones, always, no matter where, Nintendo, PSP, whatever it came out. What I'm seeing is now normal gamers, not people that you would never think like Monster Hunter, all talking it up in Twitter, all like, oh my god, this game is awesome, where has been Monster Hunter my life? And they get into groups, they're building like, teams, trying to hunt all these beast downs and stuff like that. Caliones, this is a slam dunk for Capcom. They have something here special that now I could officially say now Monster Hunter is now part of the normal gaming player, right? And
hopefully they're gonna treat it the right way. Hopefully we're not gonna see Monster Hunter World, like X or
Puerto Rico,
X or
Rico.
whatever. So hopefully we're not gonna see that from them, and we can see instead expansions. So I know that they've been talking about free updates and things like that, but instead of releasing Monster Hunter World 2 a year from now, maybe it just needs an expansion, and that's how Ubisoft has been able to continue to make money off of games like Rainbow Six Siege, which is one of their cash cows, and it's because they continue to do expansions and expand on the game. They released a complete game when it first came out. Same with Monster Hunter World. It is a complete game. It's not that it's missing things, but they can always expand on what they release. And that's how Capcom can keep from having to continue to publish and do a full development cycle and just continue on expanding what it is that they currently have. So
quickly, Yamada Designs. If you're 1/8 Puerto Rican, we'll treat you nice. You're Puerto Rican. Welcome to the club. It's all good. But I'm with Caliones. They can keep expanding and doing expansion packs and keep selling this game. And what's beautiful, Caliones, is that there's no loot boxes or anything to that extent. We were just talking how much loot boxes are the craze, and Capcom finally says we're not gonna do shit on this one, and they keep it normal. And look, Capcom, look at how many people are loving your game right now. Yeah, expansions. This could be a Final Fantasy 14 type of deal for them, right, Caliones? They could keep creating new worlds, new monsters, new hunts, so keep people engaged in it. So I'm happy for Capcom.
And today I was talking with a friend of mine. Saying it was actually yesterday. That kind of sad that you have to sell games by saying, okay, so we're not gonna be like having loot boxes in them. So for example, when it comes to Sea of Thieves, they did announce that the game is gonna receive free updates throughout its lifetime. It's not gonna have loot boxes or things like that. So they're using that as a selling point for the game, and that shouldn't be the case. Like having the game's special because it doesn't have loot boxes. That's how bad it's gotten to the point when it comes to loot boxes and those things. So, I mean that's something we should have mentioned about Sea of Thieves. Yes, the game won't have any loot boxes, and for people that have been playing the game, they say that the game itself is, pretty darn good, and it has a pretty good end game to it as well, and and exceptional boss fights. So I'm also looking forward to it. I know you say it's an Xbox One game, but hey, that's going to be a pretty good reason for me to get my 14-day free trial when it comes to the Game Pass. But as far as Monster Hunter World, uh, we were kind of skeptical because of how Capcom used to treat the other ones during development, but they did it the right way, and they're paying dividends. So yeah, it's paying dividends for them. So just great news overall. Um,
Yeah.
and now,
Go to the next one. We'll move
and
quickly. We
now,
haven't been efficient. But before we go, I think you're gonna talk about Star Wars. I'm guessing, right?
that's the last one.
So you jump one, which was PlayStation, one in Japan. Again with Monster Hunter getting #1 and PlayStation being #1 console. The only thing I'm gonna say about that one, enjoy your PlayStation, because I think a couple more weeks after that, you're probably going to be back to second place in Japan. Anyway, go ahead, Caliones. But I'm happy for Monster Hunter. Again, overall, what we talked about. So.
And if you saw on there, when it comes to this, physical, Splatoon 2 is almost at 2 million physical games sold as well. So
that's not. That's nice.
Overall,
that's the newest franchise. That's to me. Yeah. It's becoming right there with Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and Splatoon. So I mean, Nintendo I think found their fourth, you could call it, major franchise for them, or a big seller for them. So
yeah, and with the last piece of news, and this is talking about Star Wars and The Last Jedi. For some reason, they just can't stop. Can't stop talking about The Last Jedi because the people are really complaining. It's not just people going and like doing a low rating or something just to get the score down. Is that there are things wrong with the movie. People have been vocal, very vocal about it, and they're doing trying to do cleanup. One of the things that Mark Hamill is talking about is a deleted scene that was supposed to be featured on it, and that he hopes that scene is going to be added. Basically, the scene is in between him and Laura Dern's character, and that's something that if you saw the movie, they never met. They never met throughout the movie, so they never saw each other. So for them to meet, during the movie, then it seems like it changes pretty much a lot of things that that happened within it. So, what do you think? What does that entail? By the time that he decided to, do his, well, I guess I should say spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But by the time that he used his powers at the end and he projected himself at a specific place, her character was not there anymore. So she could not have seen it. It would have happened around the midway point, and it would have been him either projecting himself or physically leaving the planet. So that would change a lot of what happened during the movie. Or it could be that what happened in the movie was something else that they were planning at first, and then Ryan Johnson decided to change it, and maybe that ended hurting the movie even more so. So who knows? But hopefully we're gonna see those deleted scenes. It doesn't change anything because it's not canon, but we'll see. So what are your feelings about that one?
Just quickly, Yamada designs. I agree. PlayStation maybe has Monster Hunter, but of course, once the Switch drops that Pokemon, it's going to be good times for the Switch for sure. We'll see if they drop it. I'm still skeptical that Pokemon is coming out this year, but there's some news out there floating. And if you want to, Yamada, we'll dedicate a full hour. Remember, Saturdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. If you want your Nintendo news from us.
Only Nintendo.
Only Nintendo news. Saturday is the day for you, and we're going to talk about that Pokemon rumors going around, if there's going to be ready or not, because Caliones, right, I heard that they're already doing voiceover. Interesting. Excuse me, not voiceover. They're translating
localization.
The game. Yeah, localization. Yeah.
So and it's not really rumors because they actually the job listing was there. So, but we're going to address it on Saturday.
Yeah. Now, going back to Star Wars. Do you care, Caliones? Do you care? Like that. The reason I put it this is because I wanted to see you fire up. Oh my God, that director sucks. That movie sucks, which it did. The director sucks, which he does. But it was a bad movie. I still don't get the love that I see. It's really split, but I still don't get when people defend this movie. There was so much stuff in this movie that it just makes you like.
Just put it this way. as bad as the original prequels were, and I was younger, so I mean, to me, they were better than they were looking back to them. But I saw them more than once in the theater. I saw them at least 3 or 4 times, each one of them. Last Jedi, I saw it that one time, and I mean, I don't really feel like going to the theater and seeing it again. I may do so if it goes down to to the dollar theater. I may be like, you know what, it's worth $1 to go there. But
Yep.
at this point, I
That's
don't
worth
feel
a
like it's worth.
dollar. RoboCop reference for people who are too young there. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, and for people that are too young, you still cannot watch that movie.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
but yeah, but I don't know, like I don't feel the same way. Like this is the first time that I'm not necessarily looking forward to a new Star Wars movie. Hopefully, the Han Solo movie, which it still hasn't convinced me. Did you see the trailer to that one?
No, because I'm treating all Star Wars movie going forward with no trailers, Calione, and the reason for that is I really don't want to go with expectations. So what I feel about the movie is because I saw it this way, like what happened with episode 8. I went in there, I didn't saw a single trailer. I wanted to be fresh. I wanted to be like, okay, what I feel about this movie is what I'm gonna feel. And when I came out of the theater after watching it, I was like, I'm not happy. I wasn't like hating the movie at that point yet, but I was like, but this movie's not good. I'm not feeling it, right? And I wanna the Han Solo movie. I think Disney's doing Star Wars wrong. They're trying to milk it up the wazoo. They're trying to bring a Star Wars movie every year, and it's kind of taken away from what Star Wars, why it was special. Because you would get this type of movies, once in a decade, and now we're getting it every year, Caliones. And I think it's hurting the franchise in reality. The whole milking, Disney milking Star Wars, it's not. I don't think it's going well. But we'll see what happens.
But and do you hear about the other news about the Game of Thrones creators? They're going to be working on a new Star Wars trilogy of movies as well. So now you have Rian Johnson working on a trilogy, and you have the Game of Thrones creators working on another trilogy as well. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it seems like we're getting too many Star Wars movies, and that's going to end up hurting them.
So, quick question, Yamada. We did an episode of Get In and Get Out last Saturday. If you want to go back and watch that, where we talk about the developers. Oh, I think we're fine. Both me and Caliones are excited. I think Namco Bandai could do a good job in the development of Prime. And like Caliones' point, and he brings a great point in the last podcast, was that Retro was an unknown studio and created Metroid Prime. We don't know if this studio. We believe that Nintendo will pick the right people, and what we stated on that podcast is that Nintendo does a good job of picking the right teams for their IPs. The only mistake that I could foresee was Platinum Games, which is weird saying this with Star Fox. But aside from that, every other developer that they have picked has done a good job with their IPs. Now, going back to what you were saying about another trilogy, that's what I'm telling you. That's milking the shit out of it. That's milking Star Wars up the wazoo. It's not special. To me, Star Wars now has become Call of Duty. Every year you're gonna get a Call of Duty. I'm not joking. Every year you're gonna get a Call of Duty, right?
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. Perfect.
It sucks that I'm saying this, but that's what's happening. Every year you're gonna get a Star Wars movie. And what happens with Call of Duty? It's not special anymore, right? So I think Star Wars is just losing that majesty. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Han Solo film. But going back to the original topic, the problem is, let's just say this scene, deleted scene, is so awesome. It changes the whole perspective of the movie. What's going to create is that then people are going to wish that was in the movie, that Rian Johnston just did an awful job editing the movie and changing the story, that it just damages your could possibly damage your perception even more about the movie. Like, if you hate it now and you see the scene and this thing is so awesome, like Mark Hamill is saying, and it changes the whole point of the story, it's just gonna make it even worse for you as a Star Wars fan. Seeing that scene, you're like, why was this not in the damn movie? That's what you're gonna be saying, right? So I am against them putting this scene completely, because then you are gonna be even worse. You're gonna hate the movie even worse. I already hate the movie. I'm gonna hate it even more if this thing is like groundbreaking or whatever. Maybe it's nothing, but if it's really that changes the movie that much, I don't think the director is thinking right, and I don't think it's a good idea to put it in the Blu-ray release of the movie.
I mean, I'm just expecting us to start doing the Star Wars director's cut, the Star Wars extended edition. This just I don't know, like it worked for Lord of the Rings, and the reason why it had those scenes is because I mean you were not gonna ask people to sit on a theater for 4 hours or 4.5 hours to see a movie. But as far as Star Wars, that's not how Star Wars works. So just leave those scenes, just leave them alone, or make sure that it doesn't take away from what you have in the movie. Yes, the movie was crappy already. Yes, a lot of people are complaining about it. I'm complaining about it myself, but try not to make it worse. What you want to do now is just not have people's expectation for episode 9 as high, and somehow have JJ once again helm the movie and surpass like people's expectations. So just leave it alone until the next one comes out. Just leave it alone.
Agreed. Caliones, with that said, we kind of went overtime. Overtime today, 6 minutes overtime. I guess they were good topics. When I was picking them up, I was like, this is going to be a small show today. But, we ended up being full-fledged. And I really appreciate you guys in the chat has been active, asking questions. I really, really appreciate it. Keep having fun in the chat. That's the whole point of this. We're here to have fun. But, Caliones, I think it's time to end it, right? So, anyway, let's do that. Sweet rigmarole to end the show. Ben, take us away. I want to thank everybody for watching Force In Unison Live, episode 22, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Remember that this show is every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember, hey, you want to get that podcast? It's all good, Caliones. Where you can get that podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, go to the full channel schedule below. It will show you the full sweet content that we have. Mondays, Xenoblade Mondays. Tuesday, Force In Unison Live. Wednesday, Streaming Wednesdays, where Caliones and Inkling G play a little bit of Splatoon for your entertainment. Friday, Toys and More Club presents Minecraft Fridays. And of course, the benchmark, the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast on Saturday. Also, we do have a Facebook page, Caliones, right? And it's called at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and antes es finally, go to chiguerosnews.com, swishcard.net, and give some clicks and love to my boy Caliones. With all that said, thank you again for joining us. Long live gaming, baby. See you guys. Have a good night.